Secrets from the Tombs. The Book of 12 Gates. An interpretation by Judy K. King from the ISIS Thesis. This audio presentation is provided to the public by Amun-Ra University. More Middle Kingdom evidence for the Lambda model. The Book of Gates is found in the tombs of Har-Im-Heb, Ramses I, Ramses II, Ramses VI, and others, as well as in the two great pillared halls of Seti I, along with the earliest complete version on his alabaster sarcophagus. In 1905, Budge translated this version, but because the sarcophagus lid had been destroyed, he arrived at a false enumeration. A complete Book of Gates is carved in the tomb of Ramses VI, on the left wall of corridors A, B, C, D, and Hall E. 3 figures depict the king advancing toward Ra, Heru of the horizon, and Osir, with the first tableau beginning in back of the group. This prologue represents the horizon of the west, which is divided in 2 parts through which the sunbark will pass. Heinekoff's translation of the Book of Gates from the tomb of Ramses VI begins with an assertion in the prologue of the authority of the right eye of Ra that indicates the potential of crow protein production for the Lambda Lytic lifestyle. The deceased arrives at the gap in the western mountains or polar cusp, and his destination is described as the hidden seat, the desert where the diadem is restored. This seat is the 30 BP hydrophobic sand region where the prophage Osiris resides. In the upper and lower registers or mountains are the same inscriptions stating that to those born of Ra, he grants them their hidden seat, the desert, to which are brought together all men, gods, cattle, and worms, a statement asserting that the hidden seat is the origin of all creation. The text states that Ra mounts the earth, which he has created from his right eye, that is, the stars and the sun. Mounting the earth is comparable to lambda adsorption to the earth cell. 12 upside-down gods walk on the upper mountain. The sunbark has 2 gods on it, mind and magic. References to phage morphology include a jackal-headed scepter called the neck of Ra, a ram-headed scepter called the head of Ra, and this head to which the diadem is restored. Descriptive terminology for phage include head, tail, neck, collar, tail base plate, and tail fiber. Division 1. The sunbark enters the first division through a serpent-guarded door, inscribed with text stating, "The hidden chamber is in darkness in order to create the forms of this god." The upper register depicts 24 male figures. Ra promises the first 12 figures that their souls will not be slaughtered because they repel Apep. He tells the next 12 figures that they will have truth and live. These 24 figures represent the cohesive ends for circularization of the linear lambda DNA inside the cell. In the middle register, 4 gods pull Ra's boat on which the ram-headed sun god stands with 2 gods. The 4 towing gods suggest the 4-unit integrase protein for integrase and excision of the prophage. Ra has a forked scepter and is wearing the horizontal ram horns and disc. He is enveloped by the serpent Mehen, the enveloper, and another elongated serpent stands within the shrine. 13 deities meet the bark, and Ra informs him that he has power over the shrine which is in the earth, and that he will create the forms for them. The deities know that Ra creates himself or is a molecule that self-assembles. The earth shrine is where the prophage is lodged. In the lower register, Atum stands over 4 horizontal figures called the Tired Ones. 20 bound figures who are destined for the place of destruction are an indicator of RNA degradation, which the integrase and X-size genes of phage lambda depend on. Division 2. The sun god then passes through a gateway guarded by 9 mummified gods, a divine guard, and an elongated serpent standing on its tail. The 9 gods are called the second Ennead. The divine guard is at the entrance and the exit of a passage between 2 walls, suggesting the double membrane of the host cell. The gate opens for the sun god, who will make the hidden chamber bright, a reference to the excision of the prophage. In the upper register, 12 mummies stand in shrines, having open doors with an elongated serpent stretched above them. Although the text does not refer to the serpent, it states that Ra commands the shrines to open and the holy ones to be powerful, suggesting that the serpent may point to the linear dsDNA of phage lambda. Then, 12 bearded gods with barley stand in a lake of fire, which is their refreshment. One could say that the gods are brewing barley in the fiery lake, which brings to mind the sugar maltose that is used in the brewing of barley, wheat, and oats. The barley gods seem to be an obvious reference to the maltodextrin system of E. coli transport, metabolism, and regulation, which also serves as the LAMB receptor for phage lambda. In the middle register of Ramses VI, 4 deities tow the sun god's bark through a long rod. Each end terminating in a bull's head and a standing bull figure. 8 bearded mummies support the rod on which 7 small bearded mummies sit. This is the barge of earth through which Ra pauses and passes, a possible representation of the tail through which the lambda DNA moves into the host cell. This rod may also represent the LAMB receptor site, a sugar-selective porin or tube filled with water that allows the passage of trehalose, lactose, and sucrose. LAMB's crystal structure is trimeric, with each monomer consisting of an 18-stranded beta barrel enclosing a channel. In the channel lining are 6 contiguous aromatic residues which form an elongated narrow greasy slide which extends to the periplasmic outlet. Nonetheless, the movement of the sun god through the bull-ended rod parallels the movement of lambda DNA down the hollow tube of the phage tail, what could be called the long neck of Ra, so the DNA can be injected into the host cell. Then, the text claims that the earth quakes, suggesting the initialization of the SOS response by the cell. In the lower register, Atum leans on a staff before the coiled Apep as 9 figures approach, called the council who repulsed Apep. In a second group, Atum is met by 9 gods with scepters and the signs of life. The text reads that Apep falls, the 9 gods protect Ra, and that the one whose arm is holy in the hidden seat receives libations. The hidden seat is where Oser, or the Lambda genome, is lodged on the host chromosome. As the sun god passes, welling ensues.